Next, we'll have the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Brown. Gentleman is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Thornberry, Ranking Member Smith, and members of the committee. I thank you all for the opportunity to come and testify before you today. As an original intent constitutionalist, as well as a current Navy Reserve medical doctor, I view national security as the most important function of our federal government. While President Obama and many within his party would like to further cut our military and prioritize wasteful domestic spending over our national defense, I disagree with his approach. Instead, we should be strengthening our military and restoring its readiness in the face of ongoing geopolitical threats as well as non-conventional threats. To this end, I appreciate your efforts to counterbalance the Senate and the executive branch in the past and urge you to continue to do so. That being said, I continue to have deep concerns over how the 2001 Authorization for Use of Military Force Against Terrorists, the AUMF, is being utilized. This hastily crafted response to the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks dramatically expanded the powers of the President, and yet few Americans are even aware of its existence. In just 60 words, the AUMF opened the door to egregious abuses of federal power. In particular, it allows for the indefinite detention of American citizens and broad, warrantless wiretapping by the National Security Agency. The AUMF also paved the way to today's shadow drone war under the Obama administration that has quietly claimed the lives of at least 4 Americans. I appreciate the operational advantage we gained from using drones in our military operations. I saw those when I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2012, and I view them as a valuable asset. But it is unconscionable for the U.S. government to kill its own citizens without first allowing them their day in court and due process. No administration has the right to be judge, jury, and executioner of American citizens. I was pleased that my amendment prohibiting drone strikes on American citizens was included in last year's NDAA as passed out of the House. But I'm deeply disappointed that the language was dropped in the compromise. As such, I respectfully urge the committee to include the language from my amendment while crafting this year's authorization, as well as other language to constrain the powers of the AUMF, such as Ranking Member Smith's proposed amendment to prohibit indefinite detention. Mr. Chairman, it is my understanding that the Judiciary Committee has jurisdiction over the AUMF itself. However, the Armed Services Committee can, in my opinion should, take the strongest possible action to prevent these specific abuses. At the same time, I hope the committee will include text in plain language, clearly showing Americans that these disturbing, overly broad powers come from the AUMF and not from the NDAA itself. We need to ensure that people across the country know what powers the federal government believes it has and what legal justification it presents for those powers. Our war efforts and military activities must be tightly focused and kept within the bounds of the U.S. Constitution. America is a beacon of liberty and a force for good in this world, only as long as we remain focused on keeping it that way. Liberty is too precious, and we must continue to be ever vigilant in protecting it. We must never sacrifice our God-given, constitutionally protected rights in the name of security or expediency. I am hopeful that this year's NDA will stay true to these principles. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify you before today. I'm glad to answer questions.
Appreciate the gentleman being here to share his views. Are there any questions?
Thank you,
Again,
Mr. Chairman.
appreciate